There's an open window. A lot of cut grass. Damn, the shears are broken. A wire fence. Now the scissors are broken as well, but the hole should be big enough now. That won't feel different with gloves either.
How do you do, Mr. Halligan? How nice of you to visit us.
You know my name?
Certainly. Lord Sinclair has been expecting you.
He has? Is that boss of yours some kind of psychic or what?
Why don't you ask him that yourself? Let's go.
Mr. Halligan, it is a great pleasure to meet you in person at long last.
The pleasure's mine. Would you mind telling your charming pet gorilla here to point his damn pistol somewhere else?
Please forgive us this precautionary measure, Mr. Halligan. I happen to be a distrustful man. Jack.
Lord Sinclair, now that we've met, there are a few questions I'd really like to ask you.
Certainly, certainly. After dinner I will answer any questions you deign to ask me. Until then, please be my guest. Jack, please be good enough to show our guest to his chamber.
You do not seem to be quite aware of the situation you are in, Lord Sinclair. I'm a detective from Scotland Yard. I don't want to have dinner with you. I'm here because of a series of murders in which you are a prime suspect.
With all due respect, Mr. Halligan, I took you for a wiser man than that. If anyone here is unaware of the situation they are in, you are. I have asked you to be my guest at dinner. Please don't disappoint me by refusing. Otherwise, I will have to ask Jack here to persuade you to stay in his own way.
I understand. I'm to stay here voluntarily, because if I don't, you'll force me. Is that it?
I'm glad we've settled that. Now, if you would please follow my friend Jack, he will show you to your room. We will discuss everything else in detail later, over dinner.
Let's go.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Locked up in Lord Sinclair's house. Oh my God, what's that supposed to be? Night has arrived. That's all I needed. That's a nail. What was that? God! Somebody's screaming out there in the forest. Here we are, the key. It won't work like that. Can't do anything without the key. No, not a chance. Hey, what the...
Well, Mr. Halligan, I don't believe I have introduced you to the gentleman of my club yet. This is General Myers of the British Army. Next to him is Bishop Stevenson. The Earl of Sutcliffe, one of the Queen's closest advisors. And the gentleman sitting beside you is Mr. Smothers of the Worldwide Foods Corporation. I'm sure you're curious to learn what our club is all about. But I would suggest you have a bite to eat first. You look pale. You see, Mr. Halligan, you must know we have been following your investigations into these, shall we say, deaths in London for some time. I expect your experience in the park will have convinced you that we are, to a certain degree, responsible for these incidents. As you may have noticed, the meat we are eating at this meal has a rather unique flavor. It is human flesh, Mr. Halligan. This flesh is the source of life force. It grants us strength and power. You will soon discover the incomparable feeling of power for yourself. It will be grander than any feeling you have ever felt. Very soon now, when the day of the ritual's completion has come, our power will be perfect. Then it will be time for the curse that will put an end to the wretched hustle and bustle of this world and make room for something grand and new, a world ruled by Druids. I must admit your investigations had us worried for a moment, Mr. Halligan. We had even made plans to put a stop to them by arranging a little action. But you are a very lucky man. You will witness the great day yourself, and you will be there on the right side. For by eating this flesh, you have become one of us. Welcome to the circle, Mr. Halligan.
Ow! There are some stones here.
What was that?
Let's have a look. Nothing to be seen.
Yeah, must have been a bird or something. Get back to your post.
Oh no! Where am I now? This is like being in a ghost train. That must be Lord Sinclair's study. A pentagram. A druid's foot would suit Lord Sinclair better. skull. Sinclair uses it as a paperweight. Ugh, that looks like blood. Bones. These are definitely human bones. That looks interesting. Voila! Open. This is the amulet of transformation Mr. Blake talked about. It seems to be really important for Lord Sinclair. Mr. Halligan! God, what a relief! What was that for? Have you gone mad? What's wrong, Brent? Why are you hitting me?
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Oh, God, stop it! What's the matter with you? Don't you recognize me? Brent, stop it! Brent, you bloody idiot!
Ow. What happened?
Brent! Is that you? Do you recognize me?
Of course I recognize you. Bloody hell, what's going on? Oh my God, I'm feeling sick. Everything's spinning.
I had to hit you over the head. You were acting like a madman.
Wait, I just have to get it together for a moment. Oh, Melanie, you can't imagine what I've gone through here. How did you get here anyway? Have you been here long?
I got your message. Can't you remember? I thought you might need help out here.
Oh, right, the copy.
I had a look around the room, Brent, and I found the amulet Mr. Blake mentioned on the phone.
Where?
It was in Sinclair's safe, together with a parchment.
So Sinclair had it. I'm sure Mr. Blake will be interested in that.
But now, tell me what's been happening here, Brent. What's Sinclair up to?
Melanie, I saw how this Lord Sinclair killed somebody.
What? When did you see that? And where?
Last night, here on the estate. Sinclair caught me immediately after my arrival and had me locked up. I could hear screams when I was in that room. Horrible screams. I escaped and ran outside to the forest behind the estate. And there I saw it.
What did you see?
Sinclair and some other men. They wore habits, and they were just about to cut a living human being into pieces with a sickle.
That can't be true.
I saw it with my own eyes, Melanie. It was horrible.
Oh, God. And what happened to you? Why didn't you recognize me?
It must have had something to do with the food.
What food?
Sinclair and his friends invited me to their dinner. The food did something to me. Anyway, Sinclair had no compunction in telling me all about the Circle and about their future plans over dinner. The Circle wants to complete the ritual and to put a curse on the world which will make us all their slaves.
That's nonsense.
No, Melanie. You've seen what these people did to me. They're mad. And they are serious. I'm sure about that now.
What's going on in there? Open the door! Open it at once!
The guards, Brent. They're at the door. We have to leave.
Open the door! Jack, get the key!
Yeah, Melanie, I think you're right. We really should get out of here. And we should do it now. We made it.
Yes, thank God. I couldn't have taken it in that house even a second longer.
Everything all right with you?
Yes, I'm a bit out of breath. And you, Brent?
My head is still throbbing a bit, but apart from that, I'm okay. We have to go, Melanie. Now.
Where?
To Mr. Blake. If anybody can tell us something about the incidents in this house, he can.
Okay, let's move.
Mr. Blake, I'm glad you're here. There's a lot we need to tell you. We've experienced something simply incredible.
Calm down, Mr. Halligan. Let's discuss it all in peace and quiet. Perhaps you'd like to introduce me to the young lady?
Oh, of course. I almost forgot in all this excitement. Mr. Blake, this is Dr. Melanie Turner from the Anthropological Museum in Oxford.
Oh, yes, of course. We spoke on the telephone.
That's right. Pleased to meet you at long last, Mr. Blake.
Now, what's been happening? Have you found out any more about the circle?
Any more? It's a nightmare, Mr. Blake.
Go on.
Mr. Blake, we found the amulet you were talking about. The amulet of transformation.
You found it? My God. Show me. Yes, that's it. Where was it?
In a hidden safe. In the office of the leader of this ominous circle. There was a parchment with it, with completely illegible signs on it. Here, take a look. Do they make any sense to you?
They're very unusual runes. I'll have to take a look at this in peace. Go on with your story. You were saying you know who's leading the circle? Who is it?
The circle is led by an aristocrat called Lord Sinclair.
Lord Sinclair. Never heard of him. How did you find out?
Research. Scotland Yard observed the group for a while. There was an entry in the database, so I drove out to his place. It's a pretty pretentious estate on Winchester Street.
You drove out there all by yourself?
Yes.
That was rather careless of you, Mr. Halligan.
You can say that again. He'd obviously been expecting me and had me locked up at once.
What happened next?
I witnessed a murder taking place.
Murder? On Sinclair's estate?
Yes. I saw them cutting the flesh from a human body. A live body.
With a sickle?
Yes.
I knew it. What you witnessed was a ritual for the transferal of life force. Were you seen?
I passed out. When I came to, I was sitting at a laid table with Sinclair and 4 other men.
Was there food on the table?
Yes, meat.
You didn't eat any, surely.
Yes, I did.
Oh my God.
I know. It was the victim's flesh, wasn't it?
Yes. You have taken part in the ritual, Mr. Halligan. How on earth did you manage to get away?
Miss Turner got me out. If it hadn't been for her, I wouldn't be here now.
You're a brave woman, Miss Turner.
What do we do now?
Why don't we just send a police contingent round there? You're a detective, Mr. Halligan, and Lord Sinclair is a murderer.
There won't be anything to find by the time they get there. Sinclair and his friends are no fools. They'll proceed as they've done in all the other cases. They'll just dump the bones somewhere to save the police hunting high and low for a corpse. Scotland Yard will file it away. End of case.
How can we stop these people?
I'm afraid we won't be able to. Lord Sinclair and his friends are untouchable, and every one of their rituals makes them more powerful.
Have you found out yet what stopped the completion of the ritual 1,000 years ago?
I've deciphered the text a little further, but some of the signs are just completely unknown to me.
I thought you said the amulet was important to the ritual.
Yes, that's what the inscription says.
Yeah, but then everything's all right now. After all, I've got it. Let's just melt it down, then this nightmare will be over.
Mr. Halligan, you're forgetting the ritual has already taken place 1,000 years ago. It just didn't reach perfection. Only part of the power was transferred to the infants. The inheritors are now trying to complete their ritual.
But if this amulet means so much to Sinclair, surely it must be needed for the perfection.
I'm not so sure about that. Sinclair may be interested in it for some other reason.
What makes you think that?
The title written on the parchment you gave me.
What does the parchment's title say?
Unless I'm very much mistaken, the text refers to a place known as 12 Bridges.
What kind of place is that?
12 Bridges is an abandoned complex near Glastonbury. The bridges are in great danger of collapsing. Ancient Celtic myths refer to the place as the Gate of the Worlds.
Gate of the Worlds? What's that supposed to be?
You know, Mr. Halligan, the Celts did not regard reality and time as insurmountable facts. On the contrary, they regarded them as illusions, which man's laziness and ignorance made him incapable of overcoming. Celtic shrines were always special places that allowed them to leave the normality of everyday reality. Celtic myths claim that 12 Bridges has been a consecrated site for millennia, a place where the body can step over into another time.
You mean 12 Bridges is the gate to a journey through time?
According to the legend, yes.
But nothing's ever been reported of such a journey.
Well, that doesn't make it impossible, does it? The place has not been closely examined so far. It's too dilapidated. Just entering the place has taken a very serious risk. Anyway, nobody really believes in time travel anymore these days.
Why would Sinclair keep a parchment about that place in his safe?
You see, Mr. Halligan, that's what I've been wondering. If Sinclair knows the place and keeps a parchment about it hidden in his safe, wouldn't it be conceivable that journeys through time really are possible from 12 Bridges?
You mean he wants to travel back in time?
Well, he'd certainly be doing his best to make sure nobody else made that journey. Maybe Sinclair wants to prevent anyone from traveling back in time and disturbing the ritual.
Why would anyone do that? And why would Sinclair be so concerned about it?
It's easy. No ritual, no inheritors. No inheritors.
No Lord Sinclair. I see.
Of course, these are just speculations. As I said, Mr. Halligan, we need the book from the library. I should be able to tell you more when I've translated the parchment.
Why do they call the place 12 Bridges?
It's a very strange arrangement of 12 stone bridges. No one knows why they were built that way. They probably weren't the first thing that was erected there anyway. The current bridge array dates from the early Middle Ages. If, as I suspect, that place has been a Celtic shrine for centuries, there are bound to have been other structures there at some point.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. I'll see what I can make of it.
Good. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to call on me anytime you like.
Mr. Blake. I thought you...
Yes?
Yeah, but then let's just...
Mr. Halligan, it just...
But if it...
I'm not...
What makes you...
The title...
Can you read what the parchment says?
The signs resemble those on the inscription I'm working on, but I'm just not getting anywhere with it. All I've been able to make out of the parchment so far is the title. I need a special book to continue. The Celtic Orthographic System by Scott M. Winfield. Oxford University Library should have it. Mr. Halligan, please get me a copy of that book. I believe the translation of this parchment is the key to Lord Sinclair's intentions.
Thank you, Mr. Blake.
We're much obliged, Mr. Blake.
I wish you both the best of luck. Take care of yourselves, and come back to see me soon.
This thing is getting more and more mysterious. I can't believe what Mr. Blake said.
We have to find out why this amulet is so important to Sinclair. Perhaps Mr. Blake is right, and the amulet is the key to preventing the ritual. I expect we'll know more as soon as the translation of the parchment is finished. I have to go to Oxford, Melanie. I have to get the book for Mr. Blake.
Yes, of course. That's fine by me. I really need to check a few things at home. Where shall we meet later?
I'll get in touch with you as soon as I have any news, okay?
All right. I'll be off then.
Okay, Melanie. See you later.